Hey babe, wake up. It's time for a little bit of Burlesque Stats. So, as some people know, one of the things I did is create a table of our Burlesque BHoF attendance history. This year is 20 years since our first time that an Australian stepped on the stage at the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend, which was Lola Vamp in 2006. So, what I've done, and you'll find this in my link tree, you'll find a table which has all the stats of all of the contestants that have ever competed for Australia, New Zealand, and Aussies and New Zealanders who have also competed on behalf of other countries. This is going to be broken down into 4 sessions. So the first session will be today, stats. So firsts, superlatives that we've won, etc., etc. So 2 is going to be on the outer showcases. So the movers, shakers and innovators and the icons and all-stars showcase. Then the last 2 episodes will be the juicy ones. Episode 3 will be on the other showcases that are part of the tournamentities. That would be what was known as Best Burlesque and Best Small and Large Groups. And then the final ones, the Best Debut and the Mixed Exotic World, formerly known as the Queen category. I'm really looking forward to sharing all of this with you guys, and I really hope that you all come and enjoy me for the ride. So like I said, it's been 20 years since our first contestant in the Best Debut category, which is the icon that we know as Lola the Vamp. Lola the Vamp now has retired as a mostly, but still writes a lot in journal articles about her burlesque experience. The first burlesque performer that we had happened in 2010, which was a Melbourne performer that was known by the name of Mr. Burlesque. Our biggest contingent was 8 Aussies in the 2016 competition. We had 5 in Best Debut. We had 1 in the Icons and All-Stars showcase. We had 1 in the Queen category, and we also had 1 in the large group category. In terms of superlatives that Australians have won, we are actually some of the most dazzling. We have won the most dazzling superlative 4 times. Twice by New Zealander and European performer Chris O. Once by Bonnie Fox, who is a Western Australian and one of the founders of Sugar Blue Burlesque, and by Captain Kidd in 2011, who was also the first winner of Most Dazzling for Australia and the winner of Best Burlesque that year. Most Comedic has only been won once by Australians, and that was by, of course, the legend that is Lucy Lovegun in 2024. And finally, we've also had 1 invitation for the Legends, the Titans of Tea showcase to Elizabeth Burton, which unfortunately she could not attend. Stay tuned, and we'll have next week the outer showcase stats and an Australian BHoF Stats spreadsheet. So this week we are doing the outer showcases, which is Movers, Shakers and Innovators and Icons and All-Stars. Our first Australian who was actually in a Movers and Shakers Innovators showcase was Brianna Bluebell in 2010. The Movers, Shakers and Innovators showcase only started up in 2010 and is still going to this day. All up, there have been 7 performers in the Movers, Shakers and Innovators showcase that have been from Australia or New Zealand, and 2 performers have been part of it twice. The first being Willow J, who in their second run actually did it as a duo with Lila Damer and Jazita. 2 of the performers in these showcases from Australia have then gone and taken on to the Best Debut category, and that's Lila Lux and Brianna Bluebell. Now, the Icons and All-Star showcase. Now, there is an addendum to the Icons and All-Stars showcase. We actually have had 1 New Zealander and therefore 3 people who have taken part in the Icons and All-Stars showcase, and that would be Miss Tickle, who is a New Zealand performer and won in 2010 Best Debut, Most Innovative and most dazzling. Now, this showcase has traditionally been for previous winners of titles at BHoF, as well as in some cases winners of certain superlatives. We've only had 2 performers that have been part of the Icons and All-Stars showcase. Our first winner of Best Burlesque, Captain Mark Kidd, who's also known as Mark Winbill, and our reigning Queen of Burlesque for 2012, Imogen Kelly. Imogen has also taken part in the Icons and All-Stars showcase 4 times, making her one of the most consistent performers at the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend. Stay tuned, because next week we get into the tournament of tease stats. Wake up, babe. It's time. It's time to go into the stats of the Australian and New Zealand tournament of tease representation. So this episode, we're starting off with the Best Burlesque and the Small and Large Group categories. We have had for the small group categories, at this point in time, no one has representative. But we have 2 representations for the large group category. We had one performer, an Australian named Precious Metal, who was part of the Screaming Chicken Theatrical Society's group for Best Large Group that won in 2016, and was also part of their 2017 Step Down Act. Precious Metal originally was living in Canada, which is where I first met them in 2014. And then they moved to Australia a few years after. They're still currently living in Australia and regularly commute back to Canada to be part of the burlesque scene there as well. Our first full representation, though, was Jazita and her fabulous fan dancers. Being part of it were Jazita, Cherry Bomb, and Sarah Martini, all based in Canberra, creating one of their beautiful fan dance acts that has become a signature of Jazita. Getting into the Best Burlesque category, we've had 4 contenders across Australia and New Zealand for the Best Burlesque category. We've had Captain Kidd, Mr. Burlesque, Charlie DeBarkle, and twice, representing New Zealand but based in Europe, Chris O. Also has now competed and been part of the amalgamated category of Mixed Exotic World. Stay tuned, because now we're going to get into the really meaty one, the Tournament of Teas Best Debut and formerly Queen category. Wake up, babe, it's time. And this one, it's the big one, the Australian-New Zealand representation for the Tournament of Teas Queen and Best Debut category. All up, 32 Australians and New Zealanders have competed as part of the Mixed Exotic World Best Debut competition. That's 30 Australians and 2 New Zealanders, Miss Levita and Mystical. Our largest representation in that category was 10 years ago in 2016. That was with Diesel Darling, Lila Lux, Memphis May, Brianna Bluebell, and Betty Bombshell. Our second highest contingent has actually been this year with Sugar du Jour, Hot Blonde Slut, Mystical Allure, and Winter Green all taking part in this year's Best Debut category. Now, this is where it gets interesting for the Australians. The other 4 times that we've won, they have been back-to-back wins. In 2014, Bonnie Fox, representing the UK but originally from Australia, won Best Debut, and then the following year, in 2015, was Celia Rose's win. In 2024, Reese Lightning won Best Debut from New South Wales, and then 2025 was Matthew Pope from Western Australia. Will this year be a 3-peat? We'll find out in a couple of weeks. Now, getting into the Queen category. In 2024, the Best Burlesque and the Miss Exotic World categories decided to amalgamate and become a Mixed Exotic World category to become more gender inclusive. As a result, the amount of contenders who can take part has also increased. The competitors who have gone on to compete for the crown include Alyssa Kitt, Betty Bombshell, Imogen Kelly, Lucy Lovegun, Bonnie Fox, Chris O, and Cena King. 2023 was the year that Chris O got to compete for the first time for the Mixed Exotic World Crown, so that's why they're considered one on that scale. Only one has won, which is, of course, our Queen of 2012, Imogen Kelly. Imogen was also the only one who has won it on the first try for Australia. We now have 2 competitors who have taken part in the Mixed Exotic World category multiple times. Betty Bombshell, who has competed 3 times and was unable to compete the 4th time, taking their 3rd time on this. Miss Alyssa Kitt, who's based in New York now, but considers herself a tried and true Queenslander. Is 3rd time a charm? We hope so. Now, as I said in the first video, if there's any parts that I've missed, feel free to DM me and reach out. Some things I may be missing. If you have links to any of the performances, please send it on, because the more that we have to collate of this history and celebrate, the richer Australian burlesque history becomes. This is not a resource that's going anywhere. I'm making sure to keep it publicly available, and we'll be adding to it so it becomes a living, breathing history document. I hope you've enjoyed this series that I've written up. This has been a really fun labour of love for me, and I really can't wait to support the museum by watching online.